Hello and welcome to another Airbrush Asylum video. In today's video, I'm heading out to DNA and Trident, so let's go take a look. So here we are at DNA and Trident Custom Paint's head office. So let's go take a look at some of their amazing products. Come follow me. So I'm here today with Scott from Trident Airbrush Paint and DNA Custom Paints, and I'm going to start asking him some questions right now. So tell me, Scott, how did Trident begin?
Trident began around 10 years ago when we were already manufacturing paints as DNA Custom Paints, and we had airbrush paints available in the solvent range. We listened to airbrush artists, and what they were asking for wasn't more colours. They wanted a water-based paint that was multi-substrate to be able to be painted on multiple surfaces, and they're also tired of having water-based paints where they had to have a certain set for t-shirt material, another one for auto, another one for canvas. So what we do is we set out to manufacture a paint that would go in multi-substrate and multicolours.
So what do you believe is one of Trident's best qualities?
I think one of the best features of Trident is its multi-surface technology. The fact that you can have the one paint that can be used on so many substrates and surfaces is amazing. You can use it on automotive applications, metals, plastics, concretes, paper, synthetic paper, leathers, the list goes on. So it really is a multi-surface product.
So tell me, how many colours are in the Trident range?
It's currently around 50 colours in the Trident range. However, when we developed the True 8 colour set, those particular colours were developed to be a very clean colour that mixes well with one another. So with that True 8 set alone, you can actually mix hundreds of colours quite easily, provided of course you know your colour theory. So I leave that up to the artists.
So I'm sure most people would know that you can buy the Trident paint separately. They're also available in kits. Can you tell me which kit is the most popular?
I'd have to say our True 8 set, for the reasons just said before about how cleanly and easily it does mix with one another to create a multitude of colours.
So what type of airbrushing can Trident be used for?
That's a good question. Every time we've tried to say an application for airbrush paints or what we do, an artist comes out of the box and proves us that it can be used for something else. So we try not to limit the creativity of the artists, because every time we tell them where it can and cannot be used, they often prove us wrong. Of course, we've got our standard lines that a paint manufacturer would say, you know, how not to use it and so forth. But yeah, we haven't found an application yet that someone's not prepared to put it on.
So most people would be familiar that Trident is easily sprayed through an airbrush. Can you also apply the paint using a brush?
Absolutely. Trident can be applied with a brush, it can be applied with a toothpick, it can be blotted, it can be finger painted on, it can be tipped into resin art, it can be applied with a roller. There's not really any limitations to how Trident paint can be applied. But once again, it's up to the artist.
So does heating up Trident paint help its adhesion properties?
Yes, for t-shirts and textiles. However, on hard surfaces, it accelerates the curing time but doesn't increase the adhesion. The adhesion remains pretty good regardless.
So for artists that are using Trident on t-shirts, the t-shirt booster, does it help to use that, and what are the benefits of using it?
If the garment is going to be washed, absolutely. T-shirt booster locks the pigment into the fabric to ensure that it's not washed out with regular wash cycles. However, one thing I would recommend for applicators is if it's a brand new t-shirt, it's a good idea to run that t-shirt through the wash once or twice, just to get rid of any of those oils and fabric softeners that are often in the t-shirt from the manufacturer.
So I'm sure that most artists would love to know this. Are the Trident pigments primarily transparent or opaque?
Different colours have different transparencies. However, most Trident paints tend to lean towards the opaque. This is due to the amount of pigment we have in each colour, but that's a bonus for the user because they can let those colours down considerably using our transparent base.
So as far as reducing the paint, what reduction ratio does Trident recommend?
How long is a piece of string? We do have our recommended letdown ratios. However, airbrush artists all tend to be pretty unique animals on their own. Some of them like to use the product neat, others like to reduce it considerably. However, the only real rule we have is probably with people using textiles. They like to use it straight out of the bottle with no reduction.
So tell me, why is it important to use reducer for thinning paint rather than water?
Trident Reducer contains slipping agents which helps with the flow of the paint through the airbrush and helps to reduce tip dry. If you use just straight water to dilute the paint, it can reduce the effectiveness of these slipping agents and also diminish the integrity of the paint.
So a reducer can be purchased in two different ways. You can get a reducer or a reducer concentrate. Tell me a little bit about the reducer concentrate and the mixing ratios.
Reducer concentrate was developed to make airbrushing more affordable and also reduce our environmental footprint. Airbrush reducer, or the concentrate, is mixed, we recommend, with bottled water, 9 parts bottled water to 1 part concentrated reducer. The important thing to note with the reducer though is not to use it neat. If you use it neat and undiluted, it will not perform correctly in the paint and often make the paint quite thick and coagulated.
So a lot of people would just use water to clean out their airbrush, which is fine. You've also got airbrush cleaner. Can you explain the benefits as well as the mixing ratio for that particular product?
Trident Airbrush Cleaner comes as a concentrate, which can be used neat for stubborn or soaking parts, or reduced down 1 part cleaner to 9 parts water. One of the great things about the cleaner is it not only removes the paint from the gun and cleans it very nicely, there's actually additives within that cleaner that condition your seals and keep them running smoothly for as long as possible.
So once you finish your artwork, tell me, can Trident paints be clear coated?
Yes, Trident paint can be clear coated, especially if it's getting used for an automotive application on a hard substrate. It's designed initially with that in mind to be able to be a multi-surface technology. This includes the ability to go over it with a 2K clear, a 1K clear, satin clear, flat clear, almost any clear you can think of.
Okay, so we also recently did a shout out to ask you guys to post some questions for Trident. I've got a couple of questions here that I feel were the highlighted ones, so let's get into those right now and see what Scott's got to say. So NQ Hydrographics asks, I only use the Trident range of water-based paints in my airbrush, but if I need to use candies, I use DNA candies. Good work. I was wondering if Trident has any intentions in the future of bringing out a water-based candy?
Well, thank you NQ Hydrographics, and thank you for using our products. I'd like to say that there are a number of things in development and a water-based candy could well be one of them.
So Dave D asks, do Trident plan to sell the paints in the American retail market?
Hey Dave, absolutely. We're looking for distributors in any country we're not currently operating. So if you know somebody or a distributor that might want to take this on, give them a shout out, tell them to contact us, and we'll see what we can do.
Okay, so we've gone into the booth now here at Trident DNA, and I'm just prepping one of my grey ABS sporty half tanks. These come in a pack of 3, and I'm going to do these in a silver metal flake with a port candy using the DNA aerosols that you can see here. I've removed the plastic film, sprayed a bit of the wax and grease remover on, and now I'm wiping that to clean the surface, even though these are pretty well protected because of that film that they come with. I just want to make sure that it's totally free from contaminants, so just wiping that with a rag. Now that it's clean, I'm using a grey Scotch pad, and I'm just going to carefully scotchy the surface. So this is just going to create a bit of tooth for the paint to stick to. So you would do the same process if you were using Trident paint straight onto these particular half tanks. They're a great display piece for any airbrush artwork or custom painting, and they're just such a cool shape and obviously a lot lighter to carry around than tanks and bits and pieces to shows. And these tanks come in a set of 3. I'll pop some links in the description to this particular product. So just spraying a bit more wax and grease remover on that to clean up after I'd finished my Scotch-Brite. And now I'm moving on to the plastic primer. And I'm just spraying a couple of coats of that on the surface, to help with adhesion. Now I'm moving on to the black base coat, so the DNA base coat, and I'm going to coat the entire half tank so that I've got a dark base for my silver flake to sit on the top of. So again, need a few decent coats to get coverage. Obviously using an aerosol, it's a little bit different to a spray gun, but very convenient for those that don't have a spray gun handy. Just grab these cans and do some custom painting. So you'll notice there I've switched to my silver metal flake, so this is the first coat. Again, just getting a nice even coverage. Coming in with coat number 2. So obviously you can just add as many as you want until you're happy with the amount of metal flake. So just adding yet another coat. So I just keep looking back at it, thinking, okay, I want to get a bit more coverage and have a bit of a brighter base for that candy. And I'm happy with that. So we are ready to hit it now with some candy. So for this particular tank I've decided to go for the port candy. So there's many different candy colours that you can choose from. And I'm just going to try and get a nice even overlap. And just getting your overlap right obviously is the hardest thing with candy, so that you don't get it patchy. So you definitely need to overlap quite a bit more than your traditional 50-50 overlap. You'll find lots of information on spraying candies. That's a whole skill in itself. So I'm just trying to do the best that I can using this particular aerosol. I am finding it spraying pretty well, considering that I'm not using a spray gun. So just continuing to layer that on, again until I'm happy with the amount of candy that's going on. So obviously the more you put on, it'll get to a point where it'll keep going darker and darker. So you've got to find that sweet spot of brightness and depth. Okay, so to seal in the candy now, I'm going to use their High Gloss 1K Clear. So as you may or may not know, I do clear most of my work with 2-pack clear. DNA do make some fantastic 2-pack clears, but for this particular purpose, I'm using their 1K just to use it as a demonstration and to seal in that candy. And it's just going to air dry. Obviously we're doing it in a controlled environment in a spray booth, so it's a lot easier to sort of layer it on and make sure that you get a nice enough finish. But pretty happy with the finish straight out of the can, considering it is over metal flake. So really this needs to then be wet sanded and artwork created and then re-cleared to really get that perfect finish. So I do hope that you enjoyed checking out this video and watching the interview. Until next time, go grab your airbrush, do some amazing artwork yourself. Trident paint is available obviously from us, and for any international sales you can visit DNApaints.com. They'll be able to help you out, and I'd like to thank Trident and DNA as well for allowing us to visit their premises. Thanks again for watching. Bye for now.